The air inside Kwame's workshop always carried that same blend of heat, ozone, and burnt metal, a scent that clung to your clothes long after you left. Sparks danced from an open console, while a half-finished drone lay across the table, its wings trembling with static. Outside, New Dakar hummed with life, a city that never slept, where ancient rhythms met neon skies and starships hummed above the skyline like mechanical griots telling stories of faraway worlds. Kwame Daniels leaned over his bench, his dark hands steady despite the flickering light. He'd been up all night repairing a plasma conduit for a customer who'd promised to pay as soon as the next cargo lands. He'd heard that before. Still, he smiled, humming an old jazz tune his grandmother used to play. "Ain't nobody fixed like me," he muttered, tightening a bolt. From the corner, his AI assistant, a hovering cube named Moyo, whirred softly. "Kwame, your blood sugar levels suggest you require nourishment. Food don't fix ships, Moyo, but food fixes you." He chuckled, wiping grease from his face when the door sensor pinged. Someone was standing outside. At this hour? He turned, expecting a customer in need of last-minute repair. But when the door slid open, the light spilled onto a figure he'd never seen before. She was tall, almost translucent under the blue workshop glow. Her skin shimmered like liquid glass, and two elegant ridges ran from her temples to the back of her skull. A silver band rested across her eyes, cracked down the center. She carried it delicately, as if it were part of her soul. "Are you the mechanic?" Her voice was melodic, slightly distorted, like it traveled through water. Kwame hesitated only a moment before nodding. "Yeah, name's Kwame Daniels. What you need fixed?" She raised the band. "My visor. It broke during descent. Without it, I cannot see." That made him pause. "You mean you're blind?" "In your words, yes. My people perceive through resonance. The visor translates vibration into color and distance. Without it, I see nothing." Moyo flickered nervously. "Caution, Kwame. Lyrian technology is not compatible with Terran systems. Attempting repair may cause a paycheck." Kwame grinned. "Or maybe a new friend. Either way, worth a try." He motioned for her to sit, then carefully examined the visor. The alloy was unfamiliar, soft yet dense, almost alive. Circuits pulsed faintly beneath its surface, responding to touch. "What's your name?" he asked. "Sierra," she said softly. "Of the Lyrian Accord." Kwame raised a brow. The Lyrians, peacekeepers of the galaxy, rarely came down to Earth, and when they did, it was never to the Undercity. "So, what's someone like you doing down here, Sarah of the Accord?" "I was visiting your world's council. My transport suffered interference. I landed without guidance." "Well," Kwame said, adjusting his magnifiers, "you landed in the right place. I don't turn away no broken tech, no matter where it's from." He set to work, tracing each fracture, recalibrating energy flows by instinct. The tools hummed under his touch like instruments following a beat only he could hear. Sarah listened, her blind eyes moving faintly, catching the rhythm. "You fix with sound," she murmured. Kwame smiled. "Guess I do. My granddad taught me that. Said every machine got a heartbeat. You just gotta listen." Minutes passed, then hours melted. When he finally reconnected the final strand, the visor pulsed to life, projecting a faint aura. Sarah gasped, the ridges on her head glowing gently. "I can see again," she whispered, voice trembling. "Your craftsmanship, it's unlike anything I've felt." Kwame shrugged, trying to hide his grin. "Just human hands, that's all." She placed her fingers over her heart, the Lyrian gesture of deep gratitude. "Then these hands are sacred." For a moment, silence wrapped them. Outside, thunder rumbled over the sea, and neon lights flickered across the glass walls. Kwame leaned back, wiping sweat. "Glad to help, but next time try not to crash into my city, yeah?" Sarah smiled faintly. "If fate allows, I will return. You have my thanks, Kwame Daniels." As she stepped into the night, her silhouette shimmered, fading into the electric rain. Kwame exhaled, glancing at Moyo. What you think, Moyo? She gonna pay me in credits or blessings? Neither, perhaps. But I sense your choice will alter your trajectory. Kwame laughed. Man, you've been reading too much sci-fi. Still, as he watched the storm outside, he couldn't shake the strange warmth in his chest, a spark that felt larger than coincidence. And if you're vibing with this story so far, hit that subscribe button. We've only just opened the first circuit. Morning sunlight spilled through the workshop's cracked skylight, cutting across piles of metal scrap and half-assembled drones. Kwame hadn't slept. Sierra's visit still echoed in his mind. Her calm voice, the way that broken visor pulsed under his fingertips, like it had a heartbeat of its own. He'd seen alien tech before, but nothing that seemed to breathe. Moyo hovered nearby, scanning fragments left from last night's repair. You realize, Kwame, that what you did violates 3 interplanetary trade regulations. Kwame smirked, sipping strong cola brew. You worry too much. I just fixed something broken. You repaired an artifact of the Lyrian Accord, the most powerful diplomatic force in known space. Something broken might not be how they see it. He shrugged. Then maybe they should have fixed it themselves. The door beeped again, soft, hesitant. He turned and found Sierra standing there, hooded against the morning glare. The visor rested across her eyes, glowing faintly with blue-white resonance. You back already? He asked. I came to thank you properly, she said. And to compensate you. She placed a small metallic disc on the table. It shimmered and expanded into a sphere of light. Inside it, moving patterns formed, shapes, numbers, and star charts folding into each other. What's this? Kwame asked. A Lyrian token of honor. It holds value beyond your currency. You may exchange it with any Accord ship or embassy. He scratched his chin. So basically universal street credit? Sarah tilted her head, confused by his slang. If that means gratitude, yes. He laughed, sliding the token aside. Keep it. I didn't help you for payment. Her head lifted slightly, surprise rippling across her expression. Then why? Kwame leaned back. Because you needed help. That's reason enough. For a moment silence filled the space, not awkward but heavy with something deeper. Sarah seemed to study him, even without eyes, sensing vibrations from his heartbeat, the rhythm in his speech. You humans, she said slowly, you fix things not just with knowledge but with feeling. Feeling's how we survive, Kwame replied. Knowledge breaks down when the lights go out. She smiled faintly. Our kind. We do not understand emotion as you do. We communicate through resonance, not empathy. Yet when my visor was blind, I felt your intent. It guided me like light. Kwame looked at her, curiosity burning. You mean you could feel what I felt? Yes. Fear, focus, care, even your humor. He chuckled. Guess I'm an open circuit. She stepped closer, fingertips brushing a broken drone on the counter. The machine whirred weakly in response, as though recognizing her touch. Your technology is crude, she murmured, but alive. You create as if you're speaking to your ancestors. Kwame nodded. That's 'cause we are. Every design, every fix, somebody before me figured part of it out. I just listen. Her voice softened. That listening. It is rare among species who join the stars. You'd be surprised what comes out of the dirt before it shines, he said. Moyo interrupted with a beep. Incoming signal detected. Lyrian frequency. Should I block it? Sarah's tone sharpened. No, that is expected. Kwame frowned. Expected how? They monitor all Lyrians traveling off-world. They will know I am here. He leaned against the workbench. You in some kind of trouble. Her hesitation was brief, but telling. Not yet, but your help will be noticed. Good or bad? He asked. Both, she answered. Among my people, gratitude is sacred, but interference from outsiders is complicated. Kwame exhaled slowly. Well, I ain't no outsider anymore, am I? That visor's part mine now. Her smile deepened. Perhaps, and perhaps that connection means more than you realize. He didn't press. The hum of the city filled the gap, vendors shouting below, airships gliding through morning clouds, and the faraway rhythm of djembe drums blending with the pulse of plasma engines. It was life, raw and bright, and it made him proud. Sarah turned to leave, her voice softer. "Kwame Daniels, human mechanic, if we never meet again, know that your kindness changed more than my sight." "Yeah?" he said, grinning. "Well, if you ever need another tune-up, you know where to find me." She paused at the doorway. "I do. And something tells me I will." The door slid shut, leaving behind the faint scent of ozone and the hum of fading energy. Moyo flickered in the silence. "You realize this will not end quietly." Kwame grinned. "Nothing worth doing ever does." Outside, thunder rolled in the distance, a low, steady rumble that felt less like weather and more like a warning. Night had crept over New Dakar like a velvet shroud stitched with neon veins. The hum of the city softened to a low pulse, and in the heart of the Undercity, Kwame's workshop glowed faintly, a small sanctuary of metal and rhythm. He sat by the open window, staring at the skyline beyond the towers, his mind still replaying Sarah's final words. Moyo's lights blinked blue as it hovered near the window. "You have been idle for 3 hours, Kwame. Is your system malfunctioning?" He chuckled. "Nah, just thinking." "About the Lyrian?" Kwame exhaled. "Maybe. She's different. Not just alien different, like soul different." Moyo emitted a soft buzz. "Emotional attachment detected. Probability of irrational decisions increased by—" "Don't start with your math, Moyo. Sometimes irrational is the only thing that keeps us human." He turned to the workbench, scanning the leftover fragments from Sarah's visor. Tiny shards of living alloy that still pulsed faintly, responding to some unseen rhythm. Each time he touched them, they seemed to hum, like faint echoes of her presence. It wasn't just tech. It felt like something sacred. Outside, a low vibration rolled through the night air. Kwame frowned, stepping to the doorway. Above the horizon, faint silver dots blinked. Not stars, but small, hovering drones, their lights flickering in formation. He narrowed his eyes. "You seeing this, Moyo?" "Affirmative. Pattern consistent with reconnaissance drones." "Not human make." "Lyrian?" Kwame asked. "Unconfirmed. But signal encryption suggests off-world origin." Kwame scratched his head. "Guess word travels fast in space." He shut the door and turned on some music, an old-school Afro-jazz fusion track that mixed brass with digital drums. The beat grounded him, reminding him where he came from. The melody carried stories of struggle and survival, of ancestors who'd built beauty out of dust. From the back room, a voice called, breaking the calm. "You still up, Kwame?" It was Amina, his younger sister, tall, sharp-eyed, with streaks of silver paint on her hands from working late on her murals. She stepped into the workshop, her hair wrapped in bright indigo cloth, eyes glowing under the flickering light. "You look like you've seen a ghost," she said. "Something like that." He gestured toward the fragments. "Fixed alien tech for someone important. Might have done too good a job." Amina raised an eyebrow. "You? Doing something too good? I'll believe it when I see it." He laughed softly. "She was blind. I fixed her visor. Now I got off-world drones flying over my block." Her face grew serious. "You think they're watching you?" "I think they're watching her. I just happen to be in the way." Amina moved closer, studying the fragments with an artist's fascination. "It's beautiful, like it's breathing." "That's what scares me," Kwame admitted. "Tech ain't supposed to breathe," Moyo interrupted again. "Kwame, would you like me to activate defense protocols?" He shook his head. "Not yet. Let's not give him a reason to think I'm scared." Amina leaned against the bench. "You know, sometimes you act like fixing things can fix everything else too." He looked at her, smiling faintly. "That's the idea, ain't it? You make art to heal minds." "I make machines to keep people moving," she sighed. Just, be careful, big bro. You don't know what kind of game you stepped into." Kwame nodded. "Yeah, but maybe the game needs someone like me." They sat in silence, the music filling the air with warmth. For a fleeting moment, everything felt right. Two siblings in the Undercity, carrying their ancestors' dreams into the future. Then the radio crackled to life with breaking news. A reporter's voice cut through the static. Unconfirmed reports suggest rising tensions along the Andromeda trade border. The Lyrian Accord denies involvement in any conflict, though sources indicate internal unrest among their fleets. Kwame turned down the volume, his jaw tightening. Unrest, huh? Maybe that's what brought her here. Who? Amina asked. Sarah. Outside, thunder rolled again, but this time it felt heavier. Not just rain in the clouds, but something gathering over the horizon. Moyo's sensors flickered red. Kwame, multiple signals approaching, ground level. He looked up sharply. How many? 40. Kwame froze. 40? Affirmative. And they are not human. Amina's eyes widened. Kwame, what did you do? He swallowed hard, heart pounding. Guess we're about to find out. The first light of dawn crept through the haze over New Dakar, brushing gold across the rooftops. Kwame stood by his window, the scent of ozone thick in the air. The streets below were too quiet. Even the morning vendors hadn't opened their stalls. Something in the silence pressed against his chest like a warning. Moyo floated beside him, its glow dimmed to a cautious orange. Motion detected. 40 life signatures approaching from the north sector. They move in formation. Kwame rubbed the bridge of his nose. You sure they ain't city patrol? Negative. Their energy pattern is non-human. High resonance frequency. Lyrian. He turned sharply. Lyrian? You mean Sarah's people? Affirmative. Estimated arrival in 47 seconds. Before Kwame could answer, a deep hum filled the air, a vibration that seemed to crawl through the ground itself. The walls trembled. Outside, the air shimmered as 40 armored figures materialized at the end of the street. Each one stood over 7 feet tall, encased in obsidian armor traced with flowing blue light. Their helmets resembled smooth glass shells, faceless yet watchful. The lead soldier raised a staff glowing with pulsing energy. Amina stumbled into the room, still in her paint-stained robe. Kwame, what is that noise? He gestured toward the street. Guess my visitors finally showed up. The door sensor flashed red. External lockdown engaged, Moyo announced. Kwame cursed under his breath. Don't lock it. Open it. If they came for me, hiding won't help. The door slid open with a hiss, and the morning light spilled in, framing the soldiers in eerie silence. Their leader stepped forward, voice resonating with harmonic depth. Mechanic Kwame Daniels of Earth. Kwame crossed his arms. Yeah, that's me. You're the Neighborhood Welcome Committee? The soldier didn't react. You aided Seer Sarah of the Lyrian Accord. Your actions have been witnessed. By decree of the Oath of Gratitude, you are now under Lyrian protection. Kwame blinked. Protection for what? I just fixed a visor. The seer's sight is sacred among our kind. Her blindness was a wound to our entire order. Your hands restored balance. We are bound to honor that debt. Amina stepped closer, whispering, Kwame, what are they talking about? He whispered back, no idea. But I think I just got promoted without asking. The Lyrian leader extended a crystal insignia, pressing it to the ground. Instantly, a transparent dome of blue energy rippled outward, surrounding the workshop. Hold up! Kwame raised his hands. You can't just... This shield ensures your safety. No harm shall come to you while the Accord remembers. From the nearby rooftops, curious neighbors peeked out. Some recorded on their holocams, others just stared, whispering in disbelief. Kwame done gone alien now, someone shouted. First man in the block with his own army. Kwame sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. Man, they gonna think I'm running some intergalactic hustle. Amina folded her arms. You sure you didn't? He gave her a look. Sis, please. The Lyrian captain turned toward him again. The seer sends her blessing. She has entered deep resonance, a ritual of reflection. Until she emerges, we remain. How long that take? Kwame asked. The captain tilted his head. As long as gratitude requires, Kwame groaned. Fantastic. As the soldiers took positions around the perimeter, Moyo hovered nervously. Kwame, this level of attention is statistically unsafe. Human authorities will respond soon. Yeah, and they won't be sending thank you cards. He looked out the window. The block was already filling with drones and news feeds, voices rising with excitement and fear. The weight of it hit him, the cameras, the questions, the misunderstanding that was about to explode. Amina touched his shoulder. "What are you going to do?" "Same thing I always do," he said quietly. "Fix the mess in front of me." He stepped outside, meeting the Lyrian captain's gaze. "If you're going to guard me, fine, but this is my neighborhood. No weapons pointed at my people, you hear me?" The captain inclined his head. "Your command is understood. The oath protects all within your domain." Kwame nodded, tension easing just a little. "Good. Then maybe we can make this work without scaring half the city." But as he turned back toward his workshop, Moyo's voice broke the brief calm. "Kwame, incoming transmission. Earth Defense Council requests immediate contact." Kwame closed his eyes, exhaling hard. Of course they do. The hum of Lyrian armor deepened behind him, steady as a heartbeat. 40 soldiers stood guard around his home, and Kwame Daniels, a backstreet mechanic from the Undercity, realized life would never be quiet again. By noon, New Dakar was boiling with noise. Every news feed, every street corner, every gossip hub in the digital slums had one name pulsing through it: Kwame Daniels, the mechanic guarded by 40 alien soldiers. Kwame sat in his workshop, shoulders tight, staring at the holoscreen flashing endless headlines. Human or hostage, Earth mechanic under alien protection. Another read, "Is New Dakar the new galactic borderline?" Amina paced behind him, paint still smudged on her arms. "They turned you into a meme, bro. Look, people are making vids of Lyrians dancing outside your shop." Kwame groaned. "Great. Intergalactic TikTok fame. That's exactly what I needed." Moyo hovered near the window, observing the growing crowd outside. The public reaction appears polarized. Some view you as a hero. Others believe you're an alien collaborator. Kwame muttered, "Guess that's how fame works. Half love you, half want to see you gone." Outside, hundreds of citizens filled the streets. Curious, nervous, angry. Vendors shouted over one another, selling Lyrian blessing bracelets and Mechanic of Peace shirts. Police drones circled above but kept their distance from the glowing blue barrier that surrounded his block. Amina leaned on the workbench. "You need to talk to somebody, Kwame. The government, the press, something. You can't just sit here hiding." He rubbed his temples. "I didn't ask for this spotlight, Amina. I fixed a visor, that's it. I didn't sign up to be Earth's spokesperson for space gratitude." Before she could answer, Moyo beeped. "Incoming transmission, Earth Defense Council." Kwame sighed. "Put it through." The holoscreen flickered, revealing a sharp-faced official with eyes that looked like they hadn't slept in days. "Mr. Daniels," the man said curtly, "this is Commander Imani Sorrel of the Earth Defense Council. We need you to step outside your perimeter immediately." Kwame crossed his arms. "Can't. There's a glowing alien bubble between me and your soldiers. That shield is an unauthorized energy field inside human jurisdiction. You are currently in violation of at least 6 planetary security codes." Kwame frowned. "Man, I didn't build it." "Be that as it may, you're inside it, and that makes you responsible. The Accord refuses to communicate through standard channels. You will serve as our intermediary." "Hold up," Kwame said. "You want me to play middleman between Earth and an alien empire because I fixed something?" Commander Sorrel's tone was ice. "Because you are the only one they trust. Don't make us come in there." The call cut abruptly, leaving a static hum. Amina's voice trembled. "They're not bluffing, Kwame." He turned away from the screen. "I know. But if they break that barrier, people gonna get hurt. My people. My neighborhood." Moyo pulsed red. "Lyrian troops appear calm, but I detect rising tension. Defensive systems are active." "Perfect," Kwame muttered. "Ain't nothing like being stuck between paranoid humans and grateful aliens." Outside, the chanting started. "Let him out. No aliens in our city. Hero of the Accord." The mix of voices clashed like storm winds. News drones hovered close, broadcasting every angle. Amina grabbed his arm. "You can't let this blow up, Kwame. These people look up to you. They trust you." He met her eyes. "Do they? Or do they just want a symbol they can argue about?" For a moment the noise outside blurred, replaced by the low hum of the Lyrian soldiers standing like statues in formation. He stepped toward the doorway, voice low. "Moyo, open comms to the captain. Channel active." "Captain," Kwame said, "you realize your presence here is turning my city into a war zone, right?" The Lyrian leader's voice came through like wind across glass. "Our presence honors your act. The Accord cannot retract an oath." "Yeah, but people here don't understand that. They think you're invading. Then they must learn the meaning of gratitude." Kwame clenched his fists. "Or we all burn trying to teach it." The captain didn't reply, only humming in resonance, a sound that felt both beautiful and terrifying. Kwame turned back inside, heart pounding. "Amina, whatever happens next, stay close. I'm not letting this mess swallow us." She nodded, eyes hard but proud. "You always fix things, Kwame. Just don't forget. Some things fix you back." Outside, the chants rose louder, echoing off the steel walls of New Dakar. And for the first time, Kwame wondered if the oath meant protection or imprisonment. By the third day, the chaos outside Kwame's block had calmed into uneasy routine. The Lyrian soldiers stood motionless at the perimeter, like black statues pulsing with blue veins of light, their presence now a strange part of the city's rhythm. Vendors had started selling Lyrian pastries and cosmic coffee to tourists who came to gawk. But beneath the noise, tension simmered. Kwame's workshop had become both fortress and prison. He sat hunched over his bench, tools scattered, trying to drown his thoughts in the sound of his welding torch. Sparks flickered across the room, reflecting in his tired eyes. Amina watched from the doorway, arms crossed. "You've been fixing that same coil for an hour. You ain't even plugged it in." He didn't look up. "Keeps my hands busy. My head's got too much traffic already." "Then talk to her," she said quietly. "If this is really about trust, start there." Before he could answer, Moyo chimed. "Incoming signal. Source, Lyrian frequency. Identity confirmed. Sia Sarah." Kwame froze. "Put her through." The air above his workbench shimmered, forming the faint blue outline of Sarah. Her voice was softer this time, distant, as though carried from a dream. "Kwame Daniels," she said, "your name echoes through the Accord now. Many do not understand why our soldiers protect you. Others wish to." He exhaled slowly. "You could have warned me before turning my block into a parade. There was no time. The oath responds faster than logic allows. Once declared, it binds all who hear it." "Yeah, well, it bound me too," he muttered. "And right now I'm the one stuck explaining it to the people you scared half to death." There was a pause, then quietly, "I did not mean to bring you harm." Kwame shook his head. "I know, but you did bring me a problem. One I need your help fixing." Sarah tilted her head slightly. "You wish to dissolve the oath?" "No, I wish to understand it, because right now it feels less like gratitude and more like a leash." The hologram flickered, and for a heartbeat her voice grew warmer. "Among my people, gratitude is sacred. When a seer's sight is restored, the balance of many lives shifts. We repay not only the act, but the intent. You gave without expectation. That is rare, even beyond your world." Kwame leaned on the bench. "So now 40 soldiers are camping outside because I was raised right? Seems excessive." Sarah smiled faintly. "To us, you repaired more than a visor. You repaired trust itself. In the Accord, trust is a living energy. We guard it with our lives." Her words hung in the air, weighty and strange. Amina stepped closer, her voice soft but firm. "Then teach him how to live with it, 'cause right now he's trapped by your gratitude." Sarah's image turned toward her. "You are his kin." "His sister," Amina said proudly. "We build from what we're given. But right now what he's been given could burn this whole city down." There was silence. Then Sarah said, "You speak truth." "Perhaps the oath must evolve," Kwame frowned. "Evolve? Yes. Trust once given must grow, not suffocate. I will come to you. In person. Kwame blinked. You serious? That might make things worse. Or it may heal what fear has broken. Moyo's sensors flared red. Lyrian transport descending. Coordinates match our location. Kwame groaned. Here we go again. Minutes later, the faint hum of descending energy filled the air. Sarah stepped through the barrier, her presence dimming the chaos outside. Her visor glowed, newly repaired, reflecting the city's fractured lights. Kwame, she said gently, you fixed what I could not. Allow me now to fix what I have broken. He studied her for a long moment. You want my trust? Then don't talk peace, show it. Start by telling your soldiers to lower their weapons. She turned to the captain, her voice firm but melodic. Lower your arms. The oath stands strongest in calm. The soldiers obeyed, their blue energy fading to soft gold. The crowd outside gasped. For the first time in days, New Dakar felt a heartbeat of quiet. Kwame met Sarah's gaze. Maybe we can figure this out after all. Her voice was calm. Trust begins here, mechanic of Earth. And though he didn't say it, Kwame felt something shift inside him. Not peace yet, but the beginning of understanding. Kwame had never seen silence feel so alive. The street outside was calm now, the Lyrian soldiers standing down, their armor dimmed to a faint gold shimmer. The barrier still surrounded the block, but the pressure in the air had eased. Inside the workshop, the scent of burnt metal mixed with the earthy aroma of Amina's coffee. Sarah stood across from him, her visor glowing faintly like a second sunrise. Kwame leaned on the table, arms crossed. So you came all the way back just to tell me about trust. What now? Sarah tilted her head slightly. Now I give you what was meant to be shared. He frowned. If this is another ceremony, I'm going to need more coffee. She smiled, a subtle curve that made the light on her visor ripple. No, a gift, mechanic, one that your world has long desired, but has never been ready to hold. Amina shot him a look. Sounds like trouble already. Sarah raised her hand. From her palm, thin threads of light emerged, fractal patterns weaving into a small crystalline device. It pulsed softly, resonating with the faint hum of the workshop's energy grid. What's that? Kwame asked, keeping his tone casual, though his pulse quickened. An interface, Sarah replied. It will allow you to perceive as we do, to see through energy, not light. To understand resonance, the living frequency that binds all matter. Kwame's brow furrowed. You saying you want to make me see like a Lyrian? Not make, she said calmly. Offer. Sight is not only for the eyes, it is for the spirit that chooses to witness. He stared at the crystal. You realize humans don't exactly do well with alien upgrades, right? Last time someone tried that, half their nervous system fried. Sarah's tone softened. This is different. Your hands already speak to machines. You feel their rhythm, their will to live. That connection means you are ready. Amina stepped closer, uneasy. Kwame, don't let her experiment on you. I'm not, he said quietly. I'm listening. Sarah extended the device toward him. You gave me sight when I was blind. Let me return the balance, accept and see as I see. For a long moment he hesitated. His gut screamed to back away, to keep his humanity untouched. But something deeper stirred in him, that same curiosity that made him tear apart engines just to understand their song. He reached out. The moment his fingers brushed the crystal, warmth flooded through him. It wasn't painful, more like stepping into music he didn't know existed. His skin tingled, his heartbeat synced with an invisible pulse, and suddenly the room changed. He could see energy, not color, not light, but motion, rhythm. Every object carried a soundless melody. Amina glowed like a storm of red and gold, fierce and alive. Moyo pulsed in tight electronic staccatos. Sarah shimmered with impossible complexity. Her whole being was a symphony. Kwame gasped, gripping the table for balance. What? What is this? Sarah's voice was gentle. Resonance, the truth beneath sight. You are now connected to what we call the thread, the pulse that unites all life. Amina watched in awe. Kwame, your eyes. They're glowing. He blinked, trying to focus. I can see heat, sound, emotion, like every machine's heartbeat. Sarah nodded. This is the Lyrian way, to see not form, but intention. Kwame took a shaky breath. It's beautiful, but it's too much. It will settle, she assured him. Balance comes with stillness. He looked at her, half amazed, half afraid. Why me, Sarah? Why give this to a mechanic from the Undercity? Her tone carried reverence. Because the thread chooses those who listen, not those who command. You already saw beyond sight. This only opens the door wider. Kwame's hands trembled. He felt alive in ways he didn't understand, as if the machines, the city, even the air were whispering secrets. Amina placed a hand on his arm. You okay? He nodded slowly. Yeah, just seeing the world differently now. Sarah's visor dimmed slightly. Good. Then perhaps your people can learn through you. What you do with this gift will define how they see us. Kwame met her gaze. And what if I fail? Then you will learn. Failure is also sight. The hum around them faded to quiet. Kwame looked around, the world new and old all at once. Outside, the city still buzzed, unaware that inside a small workshop, a mechanic had just crossed a boundary no human had before. Night fell heavy over New Dakar, thick with mist and unease. The city's heartbeat had changed since the mechanic gained alien sight, and though the streets buzzed with talk of miracles, shadows moved beneath the neon light. Kwame felt them. He could see them now, the quiet pulses of fear and envy rippling through the crowd beyond the barrier. Inside the workshop, Moyo's glow flickered nervously. Energy readings around the perimeter are fluctuating. Someone's tampering with the field. Kwame looked up from his bench. Lyrians wouldn't do that. No, Moyo said, humans would. Amina entered, carrying 2 cups of steaming tea. I just came from the roof. People out there acting different, angry. Kwame nodded slowly. They're scared. They think we're conspiring with aliens. Are we? She teased weakly. He smiled faintly. If fixing broken things counts, maybe. But even as he tried to joke, he could feel the tension gathering, a dissonance in the thread. Since Sarah's gift, every vibration around him sang a note of warning. Someone was cutting through the harmony. Outside, the faint hum of the Lyrian shield wavered. Blue energy dimmed, then flickered like a candle in wind. Moyo beeped sharply. Intrusion detected. South sector. Kwame rushed to the door, vision shifting into that strange resonance Sarah had awakened. The world unfolded in pulses, every spark, every heartbeat visible as sound. He saw them, human silhouettes crouched near the barrier, their energy sharp with hostility. Weapons, crude, heavy, burning with anger. Moyo, amplify the feed, he whispered. Through static, voices broke in. Take out the field generator. Alien sympathizers inside. Make him pay for selling us out. Kwame's stomach tightened. They're trying to bring the shield down. Amina grabbed his arm. Then stop them. How? I can't fight my own people. Before he could think further, the shield burst with a surge of light. A sound like thunder ripped through the street, and a section of the barrier collapsed. Smoke filled the air. The Lyrian soldiers reacted instantly, stepping forward in formation, weapons humming but not firing. The air trembled with the threat of conflict. Kwame, Moyo warned, the crowd is advancing. This will escalate. Kwame's heart raced. No, not here. He ran outside, raising his hands. Stop, everybody stop. Dozens of angry faces turned toward him. Mechanics, vendors, kids from the block, people he knew. Behind them, a few masked men carried explosive coils. One shouted, You betrayed us, Kwame. Sold our safety for alien power. Kwame's voice cracked through the smoke. You think I wanted this? I fixed something, that's it. Yeah, another man yelled. Then why are they guarding you like a god? Amina stepped up beside her brother. Because he saved someone's life, fool. Since when that a crime? But words weren't enough. The crowd surged forward, chaos boiling. A small device rolled across the street, a makeshift pulse bomb. Kwame's enhanced sight caught it immediately, its frequency screaming in his vision. Without thinking, he dove, grabbed it, and redirected the charge through a nearby drone battery. The explosion erupted upward, harmless, lighting the night sky with white fire. The shockwave rattled every window on the block. For a heartbeat, the whole city seemed to hold its breath. When the smoke cleared, Kwame stood at the center, hands shaking, face streaked with ash. The Lyrian captain stepped forward, voice calm but cold. "You protected them, even as they attacked you." Kwame glared. "They're scared, not enemies. Fear leads to destruction." "So does pride," Kwame snapped back. Sarah appeared then, stepping through the fading light of the barrier. Her visor dimmed as she looked around, sensing the chaos. "Enough," she said softly. "No more harm." Her voice carried power, not command but resonance. It rippled through the air, calming the soldiers, quieting the crowd. Slowly, the shouting died. Kwame exhaled shakily. "I just wanted peace, not this." Sarah turned to him. "Peace is born from struggle. Tonight you chose compassion when you could have chosen fear." He laughed bitterly. "Yeah, well, I'm getting real tired of being tested." She placed a hand over her visor. "Then perhaps it's time you learn why these tests keep finding you." Kwame looked at her, weary but unbroken. "Then teach me, because if this keeps up, the next explosion won't just shake my block. It'll shake the world." Kwame stood in the central chamber of the Earth Defense Council, the weight of multiple worlds pressing down on him. The room hummed with energy, Lyrian emissaries on one side, human officials on the other, each side bristling with suspicion. The lights reflected off polished surfaces, glinting in the metallic armor of the Lyrian guards, standing silently behind their delegates. Commander Imani Sorrel's voice cut through the tension. "Kwame Daniels, you are here because your actions have placed you in a unique position, bridging human technology and Lyrian protocol. You will answer for the consequences." Kwame folded his arms, feeling both small and enormous at once. "I fixed a visor. That's it. I didn't ask to be in this courtroom or in their crosshairs." The Lyrian captain stepped forward, voice steady and deep. "You aided Seer Sarah when she could not see. That action restored balance among the Accord. You are not guilty of negligence. You acted with intent." A murmur ran through the human side of the chamber. One counselor leaned forward. "Balance. This is a planet, not some ceremonial hierarchy. Do you realize the disruption your actions caused? 40 soldiers, barricades, and public panic." Kwame's stomach tightened. "You think I didn't know that?" he shot back. "I'm the one living through it." A Lyrian emissary spoke, his tone formal yet resonant. "Earth interprets events linearly by law and consequence. The Accord interprets by harmony and intent. Kwame's deed was honorable, even if your codes do not recognize it." Imani exhaled sharply. "Intent does not prevent citywide fear. This is not about gratitude. It's about safety, protocol, and sovereignty." Kwame rubbed his forehead. "See, that's the thing, and all they care about is rules. Rules don't fix people. I fixed someone's life. I didn't start a war." The room stilled. Sarah entered quietly, her presence calming the charged atmosphere. Her glowing visor caught every gaze, a reminder of the human-alien bridge in front of them. "Kwame Daniels," she said softly, "you acted where many would hesitate. You followed empathy, not fear. That is what saved us all." A counselor scoffed. "Saved you, maybe. The humans here?" He gestured to the perimeter of the room. "We still have to deal with chaos, mistrust, and international incidents." Kwame met the man's eyes. "And you expect me to ignore a being's life to keep humans comfortable? That's not justice, that's cowardice." Imani leaned forward. "The oath binds Lyrian soldiers to protect you. This cannot continue indefinitely. You must mediate between these two worlds. Prove that trust and intent can coexist with law and order." Kwame's heart raced. "You want me to talk diplomacy now?" "I'm a mechanic, not a politician." Sarah's tone carried reassurance. "You are exactly who they need. Your perspective is untainted. Your hands act without corruption. The thread chose you for this reason." Amina stepped to his side, whispering, "You can do this, Kwame. You already balance two worlds every day in your workshop. This is just bigger." He exhaled, nodding slowly. All right. Then we do it my way. I speak truth. I don't hide behind titles or fear. You want peace? You start with honesty. The Lyrian captain inclined his head, acknowledgement in every pulse. Then we trust your guidance. Imani's eyes narrowed. Very well. You have the floor mechanic. Convince both sides and or bear the consequences. Kwame straightened, feeling the weight, but also clarity. First thing you all need to understand, he began, is that neither rules nor fear define right. What defines right is what protects life and dignity. Sarah needed help. I gave it. The Lyrians protect me now. That's not betrayal. That's responsibility. And if you care about your people, you'll work with us, not against us. Murmurs ran through both sides. Quame's enhanced sight caught subtle pulses, the human fear and Lyrian approval blending into a fragile harmony. Empathy, he continued, is not a weakness. It's the bridge between worlds, and if we tear it down now, nothing survives. But if we respect it, we can build something better, for humans, for Lyrians, for everyone caught in the middle. Silence fell again, heavier this time, not judgmental, but contemplative. Kwame knew the trial wasn't over, but for the first time he felt the thread humming in agreement. The meeting chamber emptied slowly, echoes of tension still hanging in the polished air. Kwame sat alone, hands clasped tight, heart thudding in his ears. For all the speeches, for all the arguments tossed between star empires and Earth governments, one truth remained unanswered. Why him? Sarah entered silently, her presence barely more than a ripple in the air. Her visor dimmed as she stepped closer. You did well, she said softly. Kwame didn't look up. I didn't come here to be a hero. I just didn't want to leave someone in the dark. Sarah moved beside him, her voice calm but laced with something deeper, something ancient. Then it's time you understand what light you truly reignited. She held up her hand. From her palm, the same crystalline interface that once opened his resonance now pulsed again. But this time, it projected more than patterns. It formed a map, living and fluid, stretching across the space between them. Kwame's breath caught. What is that? She looked at him, the glow of her visor reflecting in her eyes. It is the vision the visor was holding, the reason it mattered so deeply. The knowledge hidden inside was not merely mine. It was a star path, a future. He stared at the map, watching planetary systems move and shift, lines of light connecting them like veins. This is a navigation chart. Yes, Sarah said, but not just for space, for decision, for consequence. It shows what may come based on what we do now. Kwame blinked. You mean like a prediction? No, not prophecy. Possibility. Our seers do not foretell when we illuminate. He pointed to a glowing red mark. What's that? A divergence. A moment that determines whether entire civilizations stand or fall. The coordinates align with the outer colonies in Andromeda, the ones on the edge of conflict. Kwame's voice dropped. And this was in the visor I fixed? She nodded. Yes. My journey to Earth was to bring this information to the Galactic Council, to urge them toward peace. But when my ship was struck and my vision lost, I became a liability. If the message died with me... She let the thought hang. Kwame stood slowly, feeling the weight of it settle on his chest. So when I repaired it, I didn't just help you see. I saved this? You saved millions, Kwame. And not through war or power or command, through compassion. He turned to her, eyes wide. Why didn't you tell me this earlier? Her voice was quiet. Because I needed to see you first. Not through the visor, through your actions. I needed to know the thread had chosen well. Kwame laughed bitterly. Man, I'm just a mechanic. You keep talking like I'm some chosen one. You are chosen. Not by legend, not by prophecy, by need. The galaxy is tired of empires and politics. It needs hands that build, not destroy. A beat passed in the silence. Then he asked, what happens now? Sarah looked out at the shimmering map. Now, you deliver the message. The Accord cannot act unless a neutral voice presents the vision. That voice is yours. He stared at her, stunned. You want me to walk into a galactic council and drop this in their lap? No, she replied. I want you to offer them a choice. That is all the thread ever does. Kwame turned away, pacing. The air felt too heavy. This is too big. I fix engines. I patch drones. I don't save futures. Sarah stepped forward. You already did. His voice cracked. What if I mess it up? Then you will still have done more than most who ever held power. He closed his eyes. The map's light warmed his skin. Behind the fear was something else, the same feeling he had every time he cracked open a broken machine and brought it back to life. He turned back to her. All right, let's deliver the damn message. She smiled. Then comes Seer of Earth. The stars are waiting. And for the first time since this began, Kwame Daniels didn't feel like he was out of place. He felt like he was exactly where he needed to be. Kwame stood in the heart of the Archive District, a sacred place woven into New Dakar's roots, where the city's spirit hummed through rusted metal and ancestral code. The buildings here curved with history, their surfaces alive with carvings and fiberglass mosaics, depicting legends from Yoruba, Akan, Igbo, and beyond. The place pulsed, not just with electricity, but with memory. Amina walked beside him in silence, her steps slowing as they reached the entrance of the Sankofa vault. The gate recognized Kwame, opening with a gentle breath of warm air and ancient song. You sure about this? She asked. He nodded. If I'm going to carry this message to the stars, I need to know who I'm carrying it with. Inside, the air changed. The lights dimmed. The walls shimmered with data light, flowing rivers of digital memory. A Guardian AI flickered to life, its form modeled after an elder griot. Welcome, child of Earth, it said in a tone rich like drumbeats and fire. State your intent. Kwame stepped forward. I seek connection, wisdom, the hands that built me. The AI pulsed. Blood verified, lineage found, initiating ancestral interface. Light filled the space. One by one, holographic figures emerged, not as cold projections but warm presences. Mechanics, engineers, mathematicians, builders from centuries past. Some wore oil-stained overalls, others regal robes. One had beads in her braids and tools hanging from her waist. Another leaned on a wrench like a staff. Kwame took a breath. I'm just a guy from the block. I didn't ask for this. But now I got a message the whole galaxy needs to hear. I can't carry that weight alone. The woman with the wrench stepped forward. You never carry it alone. Every spark in your hand, every fix in your spirit, it was us. We've been with you. Amina whispered, eyes wide. Are they alive? Kwame answered without thinking. They resonate. Another ancestor, an older man with skin like bronze and voice like thunder, spoke. You have repaired what power could not. You listened. That is the first law of creation. Kwame's voice cracked. I don't know what to say to beings who fly through stars and see time like a book. What if I ain't enough? The AI griot smiled gently. Enough is not a measurement. It is a choice. Do you choose to stand? He looked around at the figures watching him, at the pride in their eyes, the presence of centuries flowing into his skin. Yeah, I do. The woman with the wrench stepped forward again, placing a hand over his heart, or the echo of one. Then let us give you the circuit of memory. Suddenly the room shifted. Panels rose from the floor, exposing old Terran tech, circuit boards, copper coils, even cassette tapes. But layered through them were strands of alien metal, Lyrian resonance. A new device began forming, not designed by alien logic or Earth engineering alone, but both. Kwame stepped forward instinctively, his hands moved without command. The ancestors guided him, his fingers dancing like he was building a beat, not just a machine. Sweat beaded at his brow. Sparks flew, the thread pulsed under his skin. Amina watched, speechless. This wasn't just repair, it was remembrance. When it was done, Kwame stepped back. Before him floated a small orb, dark on the outside, glowing within. Sarah appeared beside them, having followed quietly into the vault. "This is your voice now, a message not just of data, but soul." Kwame nodded, chest rising with something heavy and holy. "Let's call it what it is." "What?" Sarah asked. He looked at the orb. "Testament." The ancestors began to fade, their part complete, but one voice lingered, soft, maternal, familiar. "You done good, baby," it whispered. "Now go show 'em what love built." Kwame closed his eyes, holding the orb like a flame. For the first time, he wasn't just carrying the future. He was backed by every hand that ever held a tool and dared to build a better world. The sky over New Dakar turned the color of blooded steel, humming with unnatural energy. Thunder rolled without clouds. Kwame stood at the threshold of his workshop, the testament clutched in his hand, feeling the vibrations in the ground long before the alarm sounded. Moyo's voice cut through the air. "Unidentified vessels breaching upper orbit. Velocity and formations suggest hostile intent." Kwame looked at Sarah. "They're coming for the message, aren't they?" She nodded once, slowly. "The faction that opposes peace. They believe if the testament is destroyed, the future can be rewritten in war." He exhaled through clenched teeth. "And they're willing to burn my whole city to make that happen." Amina ran up from the street, her breath ragged. "Kwame, the outer sectors are evacuating. The Council's ordered emergency defense grid, but the Accord says they won't strike unless you authorize deployment." Kwame turned to Sarah. "Why me?" "Because the oath protects you, but only you can command the shield's full release." The sky split open. 3 dark ships descended, sleek and jagged like shark fins made of shadow. They hovered just above the skyline, casting long, deadly silhouettes over the city's domes and temples. The thread inside Kwame screamed with discord. Moyo's tone grew sharp. "Impact in 90 seconds. Civilian zones at risk." Kwame's mind raced. "We can't outgun them." Sarah's voice was steady. "Then we must outthink them." He looked around, at the glowing energy conduits across the block, the solar catchers on rooftops, the dozens of drones he'd repaired over the years for friends, neighbors, strangers. His eyes widened. "Can we redirect the resonance from the shield into the local grid?" he asked. Moyo paused. "Yes, with assistance. But it will strain all city systems and create unpredictable feedback." "Then we do it." Sarah stepped closer. "I'll align the Lyrian charge. You handle the Earthborn tech." Amina grabbed his arm. "Don't you die out there, Kwame." He gave her a crooked smile. "Wouldn't dare. You still owe me rent on that drone you crashed last year." They moved fast. Kwame climbed onto the rooftop and began rerouting the conduit nodes, hands working faster than thought, every wire a memory, every bolt a prayer. Below, Sarah channeled Lyrian resonance into the sky. The soldiers surrounded the block again, but this time they weren't protecting him. They were protecting his people. The attacking ships began charging weapons, the air thick with the static of plasma. Moyo's voice echoed in his ear. "Pulse alignment complete, awaiting ignition." Kwame looked at the testament. It pulsed softly, like a heartbeat. He placed it into the modified energy core he'd built with the ancestors, locking it in place. He raised his voice. "Now!" Light exploded across the skyline. The drones rose from balconies and streets like metal fireflies. Old delivery bots, scavenged defense units, even toy flyers reprogrammed into combat decoys. They swarmed with synchronized grace, directed by Kwame's custom AI and Lyrian harmonics. The feedback loop surged through the attackers' shields, confusing their targeting systems. One ship fired. The blast tore through a tower, but the damage was minimal. The feedback shorted their next shot. The block glowed like a beacon, a harmony of machine and soul. Citizens emerged from hiding, banging drums, chanting prayers, projecting peace into the air like a shield of sound. The enemy ships faltered. The Lyrians advanced, not with weapons but with resonance amplifiers, pulsing waves of deterrence that disrupted enemy circuitry. Within minutes, the ships broke formation, systems failing, retreating into the upper sky. A deafening silence followed. Then cheers, laughter, the sound of drums. Kwame slumped to the ground, exhausted, heart still pounding. Moyo hovered close. Hostiles retreating. No civilian casualties. Amina pulled him into a hug so tight it almost broke him. "You saved us," he laughed weakly. "Nah, we saved us." Sarah knelt beside him. "You chose peace under fire. Few do." Kwame looked up at the sky. "They'll come again." Sarah nodded. "And next time the galaxy will be ready, because of you." The sun rose over New Dakar, but its warmth felt hollow. The streets were quiet now, not with peace but exhaustion. The aftermath of the siege still clung to the city like smoke. Kwame sat alone inside his workshop, the testament resting on the table in front of him, pulsing with a low, rhythmic glow. Sarah stood across from him, arms at her sides, visor dimmed. "The council is waiting," she said. Kwame didn't move. "Let them wait." Amina leaned in from the doorway, her voice soft. "You okay?" He didn't answer right away. "They attacked because of this," he finally said, nodding toward the orb. "Because they knew what it meant. And still, I'm supposed to carry it like some trophy." Sarah stepped closer. "Not a trophy, a truth." Kwame laughed, bitter. "Truth that gets people killed." She sat down across from him, folding her hands. "The message you carry frightens those who profit from division. It reveals futures where war is unnecessary, and that terrifies them." He looked at her. "So I deliver it, and what? The war stops?" "Perhaps not, but it changes direction. You give others a choice, one they didn't have before." He stared at the testament. "And what if I choose not to?" "Then the path will remain in darkness," Sarah said quietly, "and others may suffer because of what was hidden." Kwame rose and began pacing. "I didn't sign up to be a symbol. I never wanted power. I just wanted to fix things. Machines, engines." "That's what I understand." Amina spoke from the door. "But you did fix something, Kwame, bigger than tech. You fixed a bridge between us and them." He paused, breathing shallow. "Then why does it feel like I'm the one being broken?" Sarah stood now too. "Because choosing to carry hope always carries pain. The thread never forces, but it invites." He clenched his fists. "If I give them the testament, what stops them from twisting it, using it to control or destroy instead of heal?" She didn't look away. "Nothing, except your voice." Kwame fell back into his chair, elbows on knees, head bowed. He could still feel the energy from the siege humming in his bones, the way the city's pulse had become his own. This message wasn't just information, it was possibility. And possibility was dangerous. Moyo spoke from above. "Kwame, incoming council request. They await your decision." He looked up at the ceiling, then at the orb, then at Amina. "If I do this, there's no going back." She smiled sadly. "You passed that line a long time ago." He turned to Sarah. "One condition." She raised an eyebrow. "Name it." "When I deliver the message, it's not going to be through some council chamber or encrypted satellite link. It'll be public, transparent. Everyone hears it. Earth, the Accord, all of them." Sarah nodded. "Agreed. The thread does not fear being seen." He exhaled, long and slow. "All right then." He walked to the table and picked up the testament. For a moment it pulsed stronger in his hand, as if sensing the decision. He turned it over and slid open the core, revealing its living code, not just data, but resonance. And then something shifted in him. He reached for his plasma cutter. Amina gasped. "Kwame, what are you doing?" But he didn't hesitate. With precise, practiced hands, he severed the orb's core into 3 pieces. Sarah stepped forward, shocked. "Why?" He looked up, calm now. "Because no one should hold all of it. Not the Accord. Not Earth. Not me. I'll give 1 piece to your council. 1 stays on Earth. The 3rd, we lock it in the archive. That way, nobody gets to control the future. They'll have to cooperate to see it." Sarah's lips parted, then closed. Slowly, she smiled. "You have made a mechanic's choice." "Damn right I have," Kwame said. Balance over power, always. The pieces glowed in separate rhythms, like three hearts beating in harmony. And Kwame knew, for once, the fix wasn't just holding something together, it was letting it go. The light that touched New Dakar the next morning didn't feel like yesterday's sun. It was softer somehow, clearer. As if the city had exhaled after holding its breath for days. Inside the workshop, the dust in the air caught beams of sunlight slipping through the cracked skylight. Tools sat exactly where they were last used. A welding mask still hung from the back of a chair. And in the center of it all, Kwame stood alone, hands stained with grease and dried plasma, eyes watching the city breathe again. Amina entered holding 2 steaming mugs. "You been out here all night?" He took one with a tired smile. "Didn't sleep. Too quiet." "That's not a bad thing." "No," he admitted. "It's just different." They stood in silence, sipping slow. Outside, the barrier was gone. The Lyrian soldiers had dispersed just before sunrise, folding into the sky like shadows in reverse. Only a few remained, silently watching from nearby rooftops. Guardians without command, witnesses now to something greater. Sira appeared in the doorway, calm and regal. Her visor pulsed faintly with early light. "The Accord has received your terms. The division of the Testament has been honored." Kwame nodded. "And Earth?" "They've agreed too, reluctantly, but fully." "Your message was heard, mechanic, across both stars and stone." Amina sat on the counter. "So what now? Y'all just vanish?" Sira turned to her. "Now, we begin again. Slowly, together. Your brother did what no diplomat could. He made cooperation a requirement, not a request." Kwame chuckled. "Didn't mean to start a movement, just meant to fix a visor." Sarah tilted her head. "And in doing so revealed the flaw in our vision." He set his mug down and walked over to the workbench. A small circuit board lay in pieces, something broken, something ordinary. He picked up a soldering pen and began working, letting the rhythm of repair guide his fingers. "I'm staying here," he said. "No council job, no title. This is who I am." Sirah smiled softly. "And that is why the thread chose you." From the street, familiar voices called out, children running, vendors setting up again, the normalcy of the city returning like the tide. Kwame looked out through the window. A group of kids were pointing at the building across the street. A new mural stretched across its side. Amina had finished it overnight. The painting showed Kwame and Sarah standing beneath a glowing skyline, 3 lights floating between them. In the background, the ancestors watched, hands reaching toward the stars. He blinked back, a sudden sting in his eyes. "You didn't have to do all that," she grinned. "Had to mark it somehow. History got a short memory. Art don't." Sarah stepped forward. "We leave tonight, but not forever. When the thread pulses again, we will return. And perhaps next time not as protectors, but as partners." Kwame nodded. "You know where to find me." She offered her hand and he took it. Her grip was strong, warm. "You gave more than sight," she said. "You gave us reason to see differently." As she left, the wind outside shifted, carrying with it scents of sea, ozone, and burning sage. The city was healing. Moyo hovered in quietly. "Kwame, your queue of repair requests has doubled since yesterday. Shall I begin sorting by urgency?" He laughed. "Start with the local kids. That busted hoverboard been waiting 3 weeks." Amina raised an eyebrow. "After all that war, galactic peace, the whole vibe, and you still fixing hoverboards?" Kwame winked. "Somebody gotta keep the wheels turning." And just like that, the workshop buzzed again. No ceremony, no press. Just tools, machines, and a man with calloused hands doing what he did best. Peace hadn't changed him. It had reminded him who he'd always been. Weeks passed. The noise faded. News cycles spun on to new crises, new heroes. The galaxy shifted quietly, learning to carry its shared truths. But in New Dakar, under rusted beams and humming coils, the workshop remained, lit by soft plasma light, filled with the scent of iron, sweat, and solder. Kwame sat with a young boy named Tay, barely 10, who'd dragged in a busted delivery bot he'd found in a junk pile. The thing wheezed like a dying animal, missing one leg and half its wiring. "You think it's worth saving?" Tay asked, eyes wide. Kwame grinned. "Everything's worth saving if you care enough." He handed the kid a tool. "Start with the joint, slow and gentle, like you're listening to it talk." The bot sparked to life with a cough of static. Tay jumped, then laughed. Kwame laughed with him. Amina painted on the wall outside, adding new layers to the mural, this time including the children. Sarah's silhouette hovered at the top, hands open to the stars. Across the world, whispers spread. Other mechanics, teachers, farmers, elders, all sharing parts of the Testament's message. The three fragments passed from nation to nation, ship to ship, not held, but shared. The Galactic Accord, Earth's Defense Council, even fringe colonies, they had begun meeting regularly now, no longer separated by secrecy, but bound by a mechanic's simple principle: collaboration before control. Kwame received no medals, no titles. He didn't want them. What he got instead were visits, people arriving from as far as Mars Basin and Saturn's orbit, not to praise him, but to learn. He taught what he knew: how to listen, how to fix, how to build from broken. Moyo, ever faithful, kept track of repairs and requests. "You've now serviced 433 machines since the Accord's departure," it said one morning. Kwame wiped his hands on his apron, and everyone's still better company than most politicians. One afternoon Sarah returned, not with soldiers or gifts, but alone. She stood at the entrance, no longer cloaked in mystique, just Sarah. "I wanted to see if the world still sang through your fingers," she said. Kwame chuckled. "Some days it hums, other days it grumbles." She stepped inside. The seers have begun sharing their visions publicly. The thread pulses brighter. People are listening, not just to power, but to reason. Kwame leaned back against the bench. "Good, maybe now we stand a chance." Sarah studied him. "You've become something greater than legend." "Nah," he said. "I stayed exactly the same, just got louder." She smiled. "And because of that, we all see clearer." As she left, she touched the edge of the doorway and whispered a Lyrian word, something that resonated like a note in the chest. It meant anchor. Kwame didn't need a translation. He felt it. That evening, the workshop filled with music, real instruments and digital loops, old heads and young bloods, engineers and artists. The celebration wasn't for what was won. It was for what had been rebuilt: trust. Under the stars, a girl pointed at the mural. "That's him, right? The mechanic who stopped the war?" Tay shook his head. "Not stopped it. Just reminded everybody how to fix things." The drums beat on, the sky shimmered, and inside Kwame Daniels repaired a toaster that had belonged to someone's grandmother. The coil was old, cracked, nearly worthless, but he treated it like treasure. Because that's what it was. As the camera of the world turned elsewhere, he stayed. Hammer in one hand, wisdom in the other. Unbothered, unmoved. Legacy wasn't about being remembered. It was about what you leave in motion. And if this story lit a spark in you, hit subscribe and keep building with us. There's always another circuit to close, another bridge to fix, another world waiting for someone to care.